Peace, Moors. Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. Since ain't nobody really talking about it but Moors, let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address that. I'm not waiting for somebody to load up. I'm just going clean in. Look. Let's address the elephant in the room. Alright? You want to address the elephant in the room? Huh? Y'all want to address the elephant in the room? Y'all, peace, Moors. Peace and love to all the Moors. Tuning in and they will tune in. Worldwide, though. Let's address the elephant in the room. All you so-called black leaders, so-called black politicians, so-called black attorneys, Indian Bureau of Affairs, all right? You so-called black activists, you so-called black educators, and you notice a theme that I'm doing right now when I keep saying so-called, because you're not black. You're not Negro. You're not African American. You're not an American Indian. You ain't none of them. But that's why it's so-called. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's so-called. Now look, let's address a couple issues real fast. Let me flip this around. So, the ones I just mentioned, the so-called black leaders and all that, right? Activists, so you say. You claim to be, right? There's a name that never gets mentioned because y'all say y'all black. So, check the science out of this shit. Since y'all claiming that you black, how come because y'all will be like, well, black me, because y'all be coming to the Moors like, well, Moor means black. Okay. So if Moor meant black, number one, that's incorrect. It's all fucked up what you're saying. You sound incompetent. But then when you say some shit like Moor means black, how come if Moor meant black, why doesn't Noble Drew Ali's name ever get mentioned in so-called Black History Month? Huh? Think about that. That's number one. Number two, if Moor meant black, how come Mer, M-E-R, or M-O-R, is carved in stone, goofy, on the pyramids on this side of the world and on the other side of the world, which y'all know is Egypt, Hikupta? Why is that carved? Why is Mer, which means more, why is that carved in stone? Oh, you want to see it? Because I know people be needing like visual aids and shit. You want to see it? Okay, no problem. Hold up. Because I be knowing our people be needing like visual aids and shit, right? No problem. What's that? That's a hieroglyphic. Shout out to the brother Cosmo L. It's hieroglyphics. You know what I mean? Just some hieroglyphics. Mer to more. Kemet until now. Etymology, phonology, semantics, morphology of the word more. You know. Just some facts on facts that you so-called black activists, leaders, fake politicians that y'all don't ever talk about. The only ones that be talking about this right here is Moors that's on business. Moors that's upright, independent, and fearless, that's on business. The rest of these motherfuckers, they sending our people off. The ones that want to be so-called black, you want to be an Indian, even though, newsflash, this ain't India. This ain't India, but you an Indian. Let that shit process. This ain't India, but you claiming to be an Indian. What? Like, you make no fucking sense. So, when you talk about hieroglyphics, you talking about a lettering system. You talking about an ancient lettering system. It killed me because y'all going for this goofy ass shit. Y'all be going. Like, they just throwing out shit all the time. On TV, on the media. And y'all just be going. No questions asked. You just go with it. You just go with a story. You don't check the history. You don't do your own research. You don't cross-reference shit. You just go with it because they said something on CNN. You feel me? Nika. They just be going with it on CNN. Like, yeah, the TV said it. And the newscaster was like, yeah, so that must be true. Okay, that's true. So hieroglyphics is ancient, right? It's ancient, right? So before I even get into that, there's only been one man that has brought anything to do with solutions that deal with law, that deal with actual remedy. That's the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. But you notice that the prophet's name don't even get spoke of. His name don't even get spoke of in February. But it's supposed to be more means black. Yo, goof ass. More don't mean black, fam. More never meant black. Black is black. Black, according to science, is death. It is the absence of light. It's the absence of light. Don't get it twisted and fucked up. Be like, oh, well, you know, I could just say what I want to say because that's all I heard my whole life. Just because you heard something your whole life don't mean you supposed to run with it the rest of your life. Because at one point in time, I used to be under the spell too on some, like, I ain't no better than nobody. I used to be under the spell like, man, we must just be them people then. I guess we must just be them people. You know what I'm saying? I ain't on no motherfucking high and mighty shit. But when you know, you know. And once you know, you don't pretend like you don't know. Ain't no fucking pretending no more. Like, that shit dead. Ain't no pretending. Like, people be like, well, I know what you saying. I know. They motherfuckers be like, I know that we're Moors, but in order for people to understand, I'm just gonna keep saying the word black. Fuck that. It ain't no keep pretending no more. Cause if you know, you know. Do you be like, well, I know how to count, but then when I go purchase some shit out of store, then I'm gonna pretend that the person that didn't give me all my bread back, I'm gonna pretend that it was an honest mistake. Look at my face. I'm finna get that bread from that store, from that cashier that shorted me on my bread. Like, is you stupid? That's what that shit be though. How you gonna pretend that you don't know, but you say you do know? Like, which one is it? Ain't no fucking pretending no more. That shit dead. Ain't no pretending. Check the science out. Look. And we all can agree that we were the first ones on the planet, Asiatics, correct? Okay, let's move on. We are Asiatics. That means we brought forth an ancient lettering system, right? Hieroglyphics begins to take on a lettering system in the form of an Upper Kemetic script known as Proto-Semitic or Ancient Moabite Canaanite, from which the Greek. Stop giving all these goddamn Greeks and these hyper Europeans credit. They don't have no credit. They got everything from Moors. Everything. Everything. You know what I'm saying? You got to pronounce all the syllables in that word. Everything. On God. Greek, Roman, Latin, and English alphabet are derived. So what that mean, G? What that mean, Kush? That mean the hieroglyphics is a lettering system that Moors created. Ancient Moors and Canaanites. Greeks, Romans, Latins, and the English alphabet all come from ancient Kemetic script. So stop acting like Greeks. Y'all be killing me, G, because y'all will be in these fraternities, and I got some peoples that I'm cool with that's in frats. I got some women that I'm cool with that's in sororities. But you gotta know history. You have to know history and law to tie it together, because if you have one without the other, that's like you got one shoe tied and the other one not tied, and you trying to run in a race. What's gonna happen? Your ass gonna trip up. You gonna trip up, fall, bust your shit because you ain't ready. You don't have your bootstraps tied up and strapped tight. That's what's going on with our people. And the fact that if you're in a sorority, let me go back on this. You're in a sorority or you're in a fraternity. But you say that you so-called black, African American. So if you're African American, tell me how, Sway, can you go saying that you're that and then turn around and go to college and then say, nah, I'm going to pledge. You going to pledge what? What the fuck? You feel me, nigga? What you going to pledge? What the fuck are you pledging to? They don't be having no answers for that type of shit. I get it. You know what I'm saying? You join the shit because you want to have benefits, maybe for jobs later in life. You know what I mean? You want to have like career things and all that. But what's more important? What's more important? I'm not shitting on y'all. I just want y'all to think. The ones that do actually critically think. Use some deductive reasoning and some logic. Just think. Is you just joining a fraternity because you want benefits later in life? Or did you just join it just to do it? And do you realize your history, your culture? But you're an African American. So you're an African, a so-called African American. But you went to college and decided now you want to be Greek now. What you finna be, fam? Are you saying, so you went to college and you said, fuck all that African American shit. Now I'm Greek now. But I'm still African American. Damn, motherfuckers be like, man, you know what I'm saying, Kush, man, I'm an African American, but see, the Greeks, the first Greeks, this how they try to rationalize the shit. The first Greeks was black though. Look at my face. The first Greeks was, that's your rationale? So the first Greeks was black. So you'd be like, oh, okay. But you said that you African American. Did you say you was Greek all your life? Or until you got to the point where you pledged in college? Think about it. Let it process. Think about it. So back on this shit. You feel me? You African American Greek. Like where the fuck is that at, Sway? You know what I'm saying? So look. Ancient words that have been passed down through this script still hold the intrinsic meanings of those words, those letters, and have been preserved in secret societies. See that? Secret societies, Freemasons, Shriners, European Shriners, hyper-European Shriners, things like that. 3-letter, 4-letter, huh? KKK, all that, they all know for ages and is prevalent in all forms of esoteric knowledge and symbolism from Kabbalah to Freemasonry. So you think these people don't know? Y'all be thinking you so-called black people is real interesting to me because we all are Moors, but the political status that you claiming, because you claiming to be an African American, an American Indian, a Native American, like black, what the fuck is your identity? Like, you gotta pick one, fam. Do you see Chinese people one day they talking about they Chinese, then the next day they talking about they yellow, then the next day they talking about they native Chinese? They got one name. You got one name, fam. One. You're Chinese. Or if you're German, you got one name. You're German. That's it. It ain't hard. You're Russian. You got one name. You're Russian. They don't go somewhere else talking about they're a native Russian. They don't talk. Don't nobody talk like that but so-called black people, African American people that's in North America. Facts. Nobody else talk like that. Nobody talk like that. At all. At all. But y'all under the spell because y'all don't have a political status. Speaking of a political status, right? Let's look at something. Oh, we gonna go in for a little minute. You might as well go ahead and get your popcorn ready or something. Go ahead and get your popcorn ready. Speaking of some real shit. Let me sit this down. Hold up. Let me sit that down. See this? Truth stands alone and needs no apology. See, truth stand up by itself. It stand alone. I don't need you to vouch for the truth. The truth is going to be the truth today, tomorrow, and forever on. Because it's universal. Just like math is universal. Science is universal. Language is universal. When I say language is universal, like sign language, like if I don't speak your language, let me show you how language is universal. Sign language. If I don't speak, music is universal. If I don't speak your language and I tell you, I go like this, that means come here. I don't have to necessarily speak your tongue, your native tongue, but you get where I'm coming from. When I say, you know what I'm saying? When I do that, that means come here. It's universal. Law is universal. All right? Law is universal. It could be applied to different nations. What nation are you from, so-called people of color? So-called black man, black woman. Where you from? What nation do you come from on planet Earth? What nation you come from, G? Where the fuck you from? Like, where the fuck you from? When you be like, well, I'm an Asiatic black man. What? You an Asiatic black man? What the fuck is that? Or do you hear people? Do you hear any other nationality talking like that? And our people been brainwashed so long under the black spell, we think that shit sound cool. Like, now I know everything that we do, we make cold, we make it raw and hot, but it's time right now. You got to start being real refined. We got to start refining shit. We got to refine our shit. We got to refine our language. Like the words that we speak, they magic. So we got to start refining the words that come out of our mouth. It's not the fact that what we say ain't cold. It's just the fact that we got under the spell of abbreviating everything, abbreviation, and we got under the spell of ebonics. Slang is all good shit, but you got to know when to turn it on and when to turn it off. And the words that you using, they have meanings. You ever met a motherfucker? They know how to say a gang of words, but they don't know what the fuck them words mean. That's how our people be sounding to the rest of the world, to the rest of the nations on the planet. Like, we say a lot of words, it sound real articulate, but then it be like, do you know what the fuck you saying? Like, do you know what them words mean that you put together? You know how like a rapper they'll be like, they'll put all these different words together, and it's like, you not really saying shit. You just putting words together to a beat. The beat cold, but the words you saying ain't on shit. So it's like, you could have kept everything that you said and just let the beat rock. Put somebody else on the track, because you ain't talking about shit. Similar to that. We be using all these words, sounding real articulate, but in reality, you saying nothing. Like, nothing you saying really hold no weight. Soon as you say that eloquent speech and you bring in the word black people, colored people, you dead. You can make the most articulate, eloquent, beautiful oratory speech, but as soon as you say the word black people, people of color, you dead. It's just like that. Guillotine, drop clean on your head. Kill your ass right there. Because you killed yourself based off the language that you spoke out of your mouth. You supposed to know better. Because the law begins and ends with us. Nobody else. You supposed to know that. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Where these so-called black politicians at though? Why they ain't telling y'all that? Oh, I forgot. They get paid off not to tell y'all that. They get paid off not to tell y'all that shit. They get that big check not to tell our people that. Why don't they tell our people that, Kush? Because they get paid off not to speak on that, G. That's why. Islam. That's why. Why y'all think the school systems don't ever bring up Moorish history, Moorish culture? Why would they bring it up? Y'all be forgetting, G. The elephant in the room. I told you this was going to be an uncomfortable conversation because that's my shit. That's my duty. I bring up uncomfortable conversations. That's just what I do. The elephant in the room y'all ain't talking about. What is your political status? Where are you from, G? You black? Okay. Show me in your phone on Google Earth where's black land. Where is people of color land at?